Green Bay does have an extra day to prepare as they get ready to welcome the Eagles to Lambeau Field next Monday. Turning to Wisconsin, they face number 24 Washington on Saturday. Coach Luke Fickell said today that they'll let the week play out before deciding on a starting quarterback. He did say true freshman Carter Smith is a possibility.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, for the first time since March, the Wisconsin basketball team will play a game that counts tonight as the 24th-ranked Badgers open the season against Campbell at the Kohl Center. And the Bucks are in Indiana taking on a Pacers team that is 1-5 to open the season. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
Breaking news into the NFL Network newsroom. The painful loss from the Green Bay Packers yesterday to the Carolina Panthers have just gotten worse. Sources say Tucker Kraft, one of the bright young stars in the NFL, the Packers' emerging starting tight end, has in fact torn his ACL. He is now out for the season. Now, Kraft was carted off yesterday midway through the loss. Coach Matt LaFleur said after the game it did not look good, which for him was essentially code and saying this could be a long-term injury. Shortly thereafter, sources said they believed it was an ACL. That has been confirmed today. And for the Green Bay Packers, which Jordan Love has a plethora of targets, but certainly Tucker Kraft has been maybe his most prolific, certainly one of his favorite targets in this young season. He now loses him, one of the better young tight ends in the NFL, done for 2025, should make a full recovery for 2026, but the Packers lose a key weapon midway through the season.
I think it's inconsistent. We've had games where we played very well, put up a lot of points. We've had games where we have not put up enough points. It's just inconsistent. We've got to find ways to keep building on it, keep going on the things we're doing well, and clean up a lot of mistakes.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
That's Ian Rappaport, NFL Network this afternoon. I don't know that we needed an explanation for what happened to Tucker Kraft, but if you were longing for any details or logistics, there you go. The other cut that you heard was Jordan Love after the game, which is just kind of a funny comment. Look, we've had games where we've scored enough points, and we've had games where we haven't scored enough points. Apt observation, apt description. Thank you, Jordan. Jordan Love after the Packers lose yesterday, 16-13. And we're going to get into the details of this game and then extrapolate those details out and talk about, what those details and certain shortcomings that we saw yesterday mean for the Packers moving forward. I do feel that I need to spend 60 seconds kind of continuing something that Ebo did a really good job talking about this morning on the morning show. Like, the magnitude of a loss like that cannot be overstated. The last time the Packers lost a game at home when they were favored by that many points was 2018. The game that Mike McCarthy, he was fired after that game. You might remember the Cardinals actually had a very similar feel, kind of dingy, crappy day at Lambeau, not a lot of life. Like, teams do not lose. Good teams, good franchises do not lose outright at home when they are favored by 2 touchdowns. 13.5, 14 points. Like that. This is not, kind of an ugly, weird, stinky game. No, the Cleveland game was that. You're on the road and the defensive line of Cleveland beat you up. Like, Carolina didn't do anything that amazing yesterday. It didn't take any, massive stroke of luck or football fortune, chalk it up to the sports gods, the football gods. Like, no. Like, you just got beat at home as a 13.5 point favorite. That's the kind of loss that gets coaches fired when coaches are, in the mix to be fired, right? The Packers are not, considering a coaching change the way that they already were in 2018. Now, you could also look at the Wisconsin Badgers and say, well, the Illinois loss that Paul Chryst suffered in 2021, the fall of 2021, 22, I think it was 22. Who cares? It was a couple years ago. Now, since then, the Badgers have suffered many losses like that, and the standard has obviously changed, and their coaching situation has changed. But Before we get into the details of this game, in case anybody was really wondering, like, oh, well, it's just a loss, that happens in the NFL. It's not that bad. No, that's the type of loss that happens every couple of years at most. It's a really, really bad one. And games like that cost coaches their jobs. And I thought Bill did a really good job explaining. I'm just crediting the shows that have already been on the network today. I thought Bill did a really good job explaining, like, that's a loss that if this season goes sideways and the Matt LaFleur tenure goes sideways, this is the game that's going to be circled as the start of whatever comes next. I'm not predicting that. I'm not saying that's going to happen. But if it does, right, this is the game that you then come back to and circle. This is the Wisco Sports Show, by the way. My name is Grant Bills. Thank you for being here. I hope you had an excellent weekend. We didn't have to endure the Badgers, so I guess that was a positive. Really good Game 7 in the World Series. I don't know who you were pulling for, but we got a great baseball series, came down to the wire, so that was nice as well. We'll talk mostly about the Packers tonight. I don't think we're going to get into anything else except for the last 10 minutes. The Monday mailbag is open, so submit your questions. GrantBills21@gmail.com. We'll have a little fun. And I think we need it today. We lost Tucker Kraft, who I think is just about everybody's favorite player and a really important player for so many different things that they do offensively. So no doubt we're going to talk about that tonight. But I think we need a little fun, a little effing off for a couple of minutes. So at 5:50, I'll take your questions, your comments from the Monday mailbag. Submit your questions or your comments. GrantBills21@gmail.com. I'll open up the phone lines after our first break here at 608-321-1670. Download that Wisco Sports Zone app. By the way, we're going to be giving away some AC/DC tickets. It was announced earlier today that they're coming to Camp Randall next summer. So you're going to want to take advantage of that. And that link will go live on our app. I think Ebo's going to make that announcement in the coming days. But of course, you can also listen to all of our shows, watch the live streams, find all of our podcasts on that app, not to mention YouTube, Twitter, @WiscoGrant, Facebook, all of the places. We hear a lot of sayings on Sports Talk Radio, right? Cliches, old adages, things like that. We listen to a lot of press conferences. Those are riddled with cliches, right? A lot of sound bites from coaches and players and sports talk television. A lot of cliches in there, a lot of old adages, a lot of expressions, callers, right? Everybody, when you're sitting around the bar, when you're calling a sports talk radio show, you'll throw out those phrases or those cliches, things that just sports fans say when they're BSing with each other. And don't get me wrong, I think some cliches are true. Really, for the last year or two, I feel the need to remind everyone, like, it is really hard to win games in the NFL. Coaches say it's hard to win in this league, and that's a little bit, you roll your eyes, it's a little bit of a cliche, but I think it's true. Sometimes cliches are true. And another one that I might be starting to buy into, I hear this a lot when I listen to folks talk about the Packers. And up until this week, I kind of rolled my eyes. I'm like, that's an old adage. That's just a phrase that we use. That doesn't mean anything. That's not accurate. But I'm starting to buy into the idea, and a lot of people say this, that the Packers play down to their opponents, right? You've heard that said a lot over the course, not just of this season, but I think that's been a little bit of a theme of Matt LaFleur's tenure. His Packers do not traditionally blow out teams the way that Dan Campbell's Lions have, or, I would say even Kevin O'Connell's Vikings last year when they were playing their best. They blew doors off of teams. That's never really been the case of the Packers, but it certainly hasn't been this year. And a lot of Packers fans say, well, they always play down to their opponent. They play down to their opponent. They play down to their competition. And I've rejected this idea. I've historically rejected this idea because to me, that just means you're not very good. If you're playing down to your opponent every week, that means you're not that better than your opponent. You're not that much better. You're not that much more talented. If you constantly are playing down to your opponent, then you just aren't as good. That's not you playing down. It just means you're not very good, right? Same reason I don't believe in trap games. Like, I don't think they fell into a trap game in Cleveland. I don't think they were looking ahead to Dallas. They just played terribly and had a bunch of injuries on the O-line. Jordan Love throws an awful pick, and of course, special teams is a disaster. That's not a trap game to me. That's just the Packers playing awful against a lesser opponent, right? Playing down to the competition, which again is something I've rejected, but I'm warming up to the idea because I saw this tweet from Steven Ruiz yesterday, and I'll throw it up on the simulcast if you're watching YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, our app, the Wisco Sports Zone app. It's the highlight of the Panthers game-winning kick. And Steven Ruiz, who writes for The Ringer, podcast for The Ringer, says, perfectly managed game by Canales to steal a win. And then in parentheses, said, the Packers have to stop trying to win every game by 3 points. And at first you might read that, even if you're a Matt LaFleur skeptic, and even if you're a Packers skeptic, you might read that and say, well, they're not trying to win every game by 3 points. That's ridiculous. Why would any coach try to do that? You're 13.5-point favorites at home. Why would you be trying to win a game by 3 points? But then I was thinking back to the game yesterday, and I distinctly remember Pam Oliver's report coming out of halftime. and I tried to, I had a little bit of an old man moment yesterday. I tried to DVR the game and I clicked the wrong thing and I didn't DVR yesterday's game. I just set it up to DVR all the Packers games in the future. So I messed up. There was so much audio from the game I was marking down. I'm like, I'm going to go back into the DVR. I'm going to get all this. It's great for the show tomorrow. And I failed. So I don't have the Pam Oliver audio, but you might have seen it. And I wrote down exactly what she says. She said, Greg and is it Adam Amin? I can't even remember. I just talked with Matt LaFleur and he said, quote, and this I wrote down, this game is playing out just how we thought. And I heard that and I'm like, this is how you thought it would be? You thought it would play out like this? You thought it would be a 7-6 game at halftime? You thought Carolina would march up and down the field, beat you up in the running game, possess the ball? Like that's how you thought this game would play out? That's what you were predicting? You were prepared for this? I guess I don't know what I wanted to hear from Matt LaFleur. I wanted to hear something along the lines of, I'm really frustrated. We had lots of opportunities. We didn't take advantage. This is not how this game should be going. But instead, I hear via Pam Oliver, no, this is how we thought this would go. Well, I don't like that. And then I heard some of that sentiment echoed in Matt LaFleur's presser at the beginning and at the end. I cut both pieces of sound. This is from the very beginning. This is from Matt LaFleur's opening statement in his postgame presser last night.
They played the game that they had to play in order to beat us in regards to trying to run the football consistently throughout the course of the game and just make us dink and dunk the ball down the field, which we were able to move the ball and then played good defense in the red zone.
So here's Matt LaFleur describing, well, they did exactly what they thought they needed to do. And then he's listing, yep, they ran the ball. Yep, they ate up time of possession. Yep, they did this and they made us dink and dunk, as if he knew this was coming, as if he was prepared for this. And again, if I'm taking it at his word through that Pam Oliver exchange, this game is playing out just how we thought. This is just what we expected. Here's Matt LaFleur. He circled back to this idea at the end of his presser.
But they did a good job of playing soft. And I mean, can't say that it was shocking to me. I mean, kind of anticipated this kind of going in regards to how they needed to play in order to beat us. And they did exactly what they needed to do.
So can I hear that one part one more time? This part in the middle?
Kind of anticipated this kind of going in.
Oh, you anticipated this. So the game played out just how you thought it would. And you anticipated that Carolina was going to do exactly what you did, or exactly what they did. And this was a theme in the locker room. This is Josh Jacobs after the game.
Yeah, I mean, we know teams going to play us that way. You know, a lot of teams, especially, you know, how explosive our offense can be. You know, a lot of teams just going to run the ball, hold the ball, and, you know, limit our possessions and try to make us, you know, beat them being disciplined and, you know, converting with the opportunities that we have. So, you know, today when we don't convert with the opportunities that we have, especially, like I said, in the red zone, it hurts against a team like that.
So I just gave you 4 different pieces of evidence. 1 through Pam Oliver, 2 directly from the coach's mouth, and another from Josh Jacobs, who's thought of as a leader, a mouthpiece for the team, speaks on things pretty clearly. These are reliable narrators, right? I'm not grasping at straws here. I'm not trying to paint a picture that's unfair. I think I'm being representative of the facts. It's clear to me that the Packers knew what was coming, and they were fine with it. I talked about this. I did Pack-A-Day last night with Andy and Perry on Pack-A-Day. Defensively, the Packers kind of let Carolina do what they wanted to do. If it was so clear coming in that Carolina was going to want to run the ball and possess the ball and do A, B, and C, I didn't see a whole lot of evidence that the Packers defense showed up yesterday and said, well, we're not going to let them do that. Not on our field. Not today. No, they kind of gave the impression, go ahead, knock yourself out. And I'm really struggling with that. I don't like that. And again, offensively, with what Matt LaFleur said, yep, this is what we anticipated. They were gonna force us to dink and dunk our way down the field. This game played out exactly what we, the way that we thought it would.
Kind of anticipated this.
He anticipated it exactly. I don't love that. I don't love that the Packers clearly were fully prepared for what Carolina was going to do, and kind of said, "Sure, go ahead. We will allow you to defend us this way. We'll allow you to attack us this way on offense. We're fine with it. We saw this coming. We're good."
Kind of anticipated this.
Anticipated, exactly. His word, not mine. Translation, we were okay playing down to this team's level, a team over which we were favored by 13.5 points at home.
Kind of anticipated this
Correct.
kind of going in.
We knew what they were going to do. So either one of these two realities is true, and both are bad. Either the Packers were perfectly aware of what Carolina was going to do, and they thought, that's fine. Sure. And it clearly wasn't. Or the Packers knew exactly what Carolina was going to do. They anticipated what Carolina was going to do. And they executed so poorly and handled it so poorly and didn't fight it at all. So either reality, whether they misread the room and said, yeah, go nuts, we'll still beat you anyways, which obviously wasn't true, or they said, all right, they're going to force us to do this, and instead we're going to do that. And then they failed to do that. Like, that's a real failure of preparation turning into execution.
Kind of anticipating kind of going in.
Like, I hate hearing that. I would almost rather hear, like, you know what? Carolina did a real good job surprising us with this. Carolina really pulled this out of it. They went deep in their bag. No, it sounds like the Packers knew exactly what was coming. And on defense especially said, go ahead, knock yourself out. You want to run the ball and pick up 4 or 5 yards at a pop? Go ahead. We don't mind. And on offense, it's like, yep, we knew how they were going to defend us. It's like, well, you didn't really have a good... If you knew it was coming, you certainly didn't appear to know it was coming because you could do nothing against it. That's just really worrying to me. And you could say that that's a Matt LaFleur issue. I certainly think it's part of it. You could say it's a Jordan Love issue. It's certainly part of it. It's a whole coaching staff from the top down issue. This opening segment is not me shelling Matt LaFleur or Jordan Love or the defense or anyone in particular. It's the whole thing.
We
anticipated this. You heard that all over the locker room. We knew what they were going to do. It's like, okay. So if you knew what they were going to do, and this was the exact game that you anticipated, and you were ready for A, B, and C, how is it that you looked so bad combating A, B, and C? If you were prepared and knew that ABC was coming, why did you look so bad against ABC? That's concerning to me. That's really concerning me. Much more concerning than what Cleveland did to them. Much more concerning than what Dallas did to them. Dallas just played it, and Dak Prescott played an incredible game. Bryce Young didn't do anything special yesterday. He completed 11 passes, and I think 3 or 4 of them were on the opening drive. The rest of the game was pretty shoddy. So it was basically Rico Dowdle. We knew they were going to run the ball. Well, I'm glad you knew. I wouldn't have known it watching because you let them do it, and they did a really good job. I just don't get it, man. So that's my opening take. I will go to you after this quick 3-minute break. Keep it right here, 608-321-1670. We can get deeper into the Matt LaFleur of it all, the Jordan Love of it all, the defense part of it all. I know they only gave up 16 points, but a lot of Packers fans unhappy about that. And, of course, I don't know, if there's much to say about the Tucker Kraft injury other than it absolutely sucks and absolutely blows. But that's on the table as well. To you and your phone calls right after this break at 601-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, we know teams gonna play us that way. A lot of teams, especially how explosive our offense can be. A lot of teams just gonna run the ball, hold the ball, and limit our possessions and try to make us beat them being disciplined and converting with the opportunities that we have. So today, when we don't convert with the opportunities that we have, especially like I said in the red zone, it hurts against a team like that.
So that's Josh Jacobs one more time. There's just plenty of examples yesterday during the game, in the post-game press conferences of Packers coaches and players saying, oh, yeah, we knew what Carolina was going to do. Yep, we were ready for them to run the ball, and we knew that they'd want to possess the ball and make a stinking dunk. It's like, okay, so that you guys clearly came into this game knowing what Carolina was going to do. So what happened? Why do you seem so ill-fitted to combat it? That is my question. And I think it's a bad look for everyone involved. If you want to talk about the Matt LaFleur of it all, the Jordan Love of it all, I'm going to say my Jordan Love takes for 5 o'clock. I have a couple of minutes I can do on Jordan Love and his game yesterday and the season that he's had so far and the career that he's had so far, really. So I'll save my Jordan Love take for 5 o'clock, but you're more than welcome to jump in on that. The Tucker Kraft injury is what it is. I don't have some 10-minute monologue on that. It sucks, and it really hurts, and he's a lot of people's favorite player, and he's fun to watch, and he's really important to what they do, and now they don't have him. So there you go. That's the reality of the Tucker Kraft injury. To your calls, as promised, 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, I'm shocked by your opener there.
Why? Even
John. Potentially appalled by the opener there.
Why is that?
Well, there's a couple of things. I'm trying to dig at kind of the central tenet, right? And I know you keep on referencing this Vegas line. So one thing I did read a couple weeks back is Vegas is getting funky with lines because of so many parlays being put out there. They make money either way, so they're paying a lot less attention, specifically in the NFL, and you can actually notice how wide a lot of the lines across the NFL are getting. So a 13.5-point line in 2025 is not the same as 2018. Anyway, that's
sure. I mean, look, and that's a take too. If you're like, well, I don't think they're that good. I don't think they should have been 13.5-point favorites. Well, then there's a take. Like that's an absolutely fair take to have. I'm just telling you what the line was.
Yeah, but I guess you use that to kind of justify the rest of the opener there, and I don't mind it, right? I think you're using good logic, but the NFL has a razor-thin margin, and so to say that you would rather have the coaches be surprised than be prepared, and it just comes down to execution, I think kind of goes against the razor-thin margins that the NFL is, right? Like Carolina had a clear game plan, right? And as Wisconsin fans, we know this game plan well. Limit possessions, run the ball well, and they executed well. And everybody, they had the backup offensive line. Guys, these are NFL players. They had
backups of backups. Don't give me they're all NFL, especially on the O-line. Nobody has 5 good offensive linemen, let alone 9 of them, which is basically what Carolina was using yesterday.
The one position Green Bay decided to go really thin on this year was 2, actually, defensive back. But also, I'd argue the defensive line. I'm looking at the stat sheet sometimes. I'm looking at these defensive linemen. I don't even know where some of them came from. You know what I mean? For the Packers.
Yeah. Especially once Wooden got hurt yesterday. Yeah.
So that's an inherent weakness there. And they knew they were going to attack that weakness. And you're right. They couldn't stop it, right? But the NFL, the Packers had chances to win this game. And I don't want to get into the defensive
100%.
thing. I can get into, a couple of years back, we limited Derrick Henry to 2 yards per carry. And Ryan Tannehill went off for 300 yards on Thursday Night Football. Everybody was mad about that, too. So you can take away a strength, but NFL teams are going to figure out a way to score points. It's a low-scoring game. It came down to those singular moments, and that, I think, is what you can be frustrated with this Packers team under Matt LaFleur, is it comes down to crunch time, singular moments, game-winning drive type energy, and you just see it game after game, year after year, whether it's the playoffs or games like this. Whether it's the special teams goof, Jordan Love throwing a badly timed pick, we're seeing it a lot, and that I can get frustrated by. But the NFL is razor thin margins. I don't buy it at all. That especially playing a team that now has a winning record, that the Packers should have showed up and ran all over them. And I know we talked about that on Friday, but I kind of disagree with that notion, but agree with, how the hell do you let that kicker that was red hot walk out the door in the middle of the season?
Okay.
That's my number one gripe.
So you just threw like 6 things at me, and I can't possibly address them all. Matt LaFleur did comment on Brandon McManus today. I'll get to that later in the hour. I can't do that right now on top of everything else. If your takeaways are Carolina's better than their record would indicate and better than the spread would indicate, all right, that's a take. I think personally, that's more of a Packers take than a Panthers take. That's you telling me that the Packers really aren't as good as everyone thinks they are. And if that's your take, fine. Your take can be, well, they knew Carolina was going to run the ball and they planned for it and they weren't good enough to stop it. Oh, sure. Fine. To me, it looked like on my television that the defense said, oh, you want to do that? Go ahead. Knock yourself out. And that worries me a little bit for a team that I think the Packers are significantly better than the Panthers. And I think if you disagree with that or argue with that, you're letting Matt LaFleur and the Packers off the hook today. I agree it's hard to win in the NFL. And if the Packers had won 20-14 or 20-16, I would say really good game by the Panthers. They almost stole one. The Packers were complicit yesterday. You can't chalk that up to just football. Now, if you don't think the Packers are amazing and they shouldn't have run away with the game, fine. But the Packers did have lots of opportunities to win yesterday. And then it becomes a matter of situational play calling, which fourth downs to go for, which field goals to kick, which kicker to play. And Matt LaFleur is undefeated, or his hindsight is undefeated in all of those decisions. So back about, you threw a ton. I'm just going to go to the next call because you threw like 6 or 7 things, and I have no doubt that we'll get to those things in turn. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's that?
The Panthers got absolutely trucked by the Bills last week.
Correct.
By 40-9.
Yes, they did, Corey.
Don't give me this BS that there's some freaking world beater team because they're barely 500 now. I simply don't believe it.
I think you're letting the Packers off the hook. If you want to say the Panthers are a little bit better than everyone thinks, sure. I think they probably are. They beat the Cowboys. They've had some good showings, but to say, well, that's football. Margins are close. I think you're giving the Packers a pass, and I don't think they deserve it.
I'm in complete agreement with that. Is what I'm saying, Grant.
Okay.
I think it was an utter failure on the part of this team. I don't even know where to start and begin with this. This goes back, so I just had a thought here when I was driving and going through this god-awful accident, so I'm kind of fired up right now. So every time they play a team that makes them dink and dunk down the field and wants to possess the ball themselves, so like what Carolina did or what Cleveland did, they all of a sudden come out, and I think the Packers think, we got to score now because we might not get the ball back, or we're not going to have enough possessions. And that's why you see these idiotic down-the-field plays where you're like, this is really brain dead, or Jordan Love is stupid, blah, blah, blah.
I think Love might get antsy. Yeah, Love gets antsy. He's like, well, at some point, we got to try to make something happen, so I've predetermined that this is going to Watson on this play, no matter what it looks like.
And that's exactly it. And they're like, we have to do this now because we're giving up 10, 12-play drives by our defense. Instead of saying, we know this is what they're going to try and do, our defense is limiting them to 3 points. We have to then ourselves stay in our control, score points when we can, and rely and trust that our defense eventually is going to stop them from this Mickey Mouse BS, which they couldn't do yesterday either. They let them run a draw play at the end of the game that basically put the dagger in them when they let Rico freaking Dowdle.
Who's good?
Like, who? Good. Yeah, I get that, but like, come on. So like, the guy ran a 15-yard draw play when they were expecting the pass. So I'm not letting the Packers off the hook on this one. This is bad. This is like, just like you said, and what Bill said and what Evil said. This type of bleep got Mike McCarthy fired in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And if it ends up him getting fired at the end of the year, when policy pulls the plug on the Great Kazoo experiment, we're going to go back at this. I completely agree. This will be the epitaph. This lost to Carolina. Yes. That was the beginning of the downfall. He's going to have to do what he did in 2023 when we all like this season of spiraling out of control when they traded Rasul Douglas and everybody was freaking out. And LaFleur actually got him back on track and got him to the playoffs. He's going to have to do that plus more now.
So people are talking about the Packers today. Corey, that's a great call. Like they're in some sort of a death spiral right now. Now the Tucker Kraft injury blows. They're leading the division, and partially due to a tie. Okay, but they tied instead of losing that game. So like that's the way that game went. It's not ideal, but it's better than a loss. This could be the beginning of the end of a coach. These are the games that you look back on as like, yeah, I remember that. I remember that game. It could also be the start of like, what if they come out and look awesome and renewed and against the Eagles? I'm not discounting that either. I'm not using this to project a month, 2-3 months into the year. I just want to make sure everyone understands the magnitude of a loss like this, on top of talking about all the little finite details, right? So that's the reason I bring up the 13.5 point spread, although Vagabond John's telling me that's bunk. Sure, I'll let Vagabond John nerd out on that. I don't think Vegas is like, well, what's the spread? Who cares? We'll make money back on props. I don't think that's how those casinos operate, but there might be an ounce of truth to that. Maybe it wasn't a 13.5. Maybe it's a 12.5. Oh, all right. I kind of reject the idea that Vegas is taking a bath to focus on their player props on spreads. I don't really buy into that, but whatever. I'll concede to some degree if that's what I need to do to Vagabond John. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, this is Justice from Eau Claire.
Hey, Justice. What's up?
Well, I think a lot of the talk is doom and gloom this week, as it should be. I am hopeful for the future. I think this team has the means to get it done in big games. But my one concern, as it is for a lot of people right now, is Matt LaFleur. And my question for you, I guess, is there a ceiling with this team, with Matt LaFleur? Can this team go the distance with Matt LaFleur? We've just seen so many instances of poor decision-making, poor play calling, and I don't know. I just don't know if I can see it if there needs to be a change eventually.
Eventually, I think you are asking all the right questions, Justice. I don't have answers for you. NFL precedent would tell you if a team doesn't win a Super Bowl with their team in the first 5 or 6 years, then they're probably not going to win it with that team. There's exceptions, of course, but history would tell us no. I thought Matt LaFleur regressed as a coach last year. We talked about it a lot. I'm seeing a lot of the same things this year as we saw last year. I also, and we could talk about this on the other side of the break, this O-line is bad. And the running game is bad. And their wide receiving core and now tight end group is pretty beaten up. So I have adjusted my expectations for exactly the output that I'd like to see from this offense in Matt LaFleur. The thing that does concern me is that Carolina showed up yesterday and said, we know exactly what we have to do, and we're going to execute this game plan. We know what the Packers are going to do here, there, and everywhere, and here's what we're going to do to combat it. And the Packers kind of seemed like, yeah, we knew what they were going to do. We just, we kind of thought we'd win because we're better. And I don't love an example of my coach getting outclassed and my organization getting outclassed in the brainiac way, in the upstairs way, like it appeared they were yesterday. Does that make sense? Let's take 2 more calls here. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hi, Grant. This is Ron.
Hey, Ron. Sorry we couldn't get you on Bill's show earlier today. We were busy. What's going on?
Yeah, the Packers were flat and all that. They made a bunch of mistakes. The penalties are just killing them. But they still could have won yesterday's game if they. Because I could tell after the first 10, 12 minutes of the game, it says, okay, this game's going to be ugly. It's going to get mucked up. We're going to have to somehow roll up our sleeves and win this game in the trenches and slug it out.
And they had chances. Like, Ron, I know everyone was furious in the first half because it wasn't this beautiful game we were expecting, but they had so many chances to win. Like, that was a football game right down to the end.
And I wish Love would stop being impatient because it was only a 1-point game, 7-6, and he decides to chuck one up, and he had no chance to complete that. He's got to stop doing that.
The one in the end zone or the one that actually got intercepted?
The one in the end zone. I mean, no, the one that got intercepted because all they had to do is drive down there and take the lead and just take what the defense gave them and get out of the game with a win. So,
and we would have taken it, and I would have been happy today, Ron. We're going to leave it right there. And we got loaded phone lines. I'm going to take a break now. I'll get to you on the other side. That's what I'm saying, though, Ron. It looked like Carolina came in and said, okay, here's what we're going to do, because we know that they'll get impatient. Jordan Love will get impatient, and they'll want to start taking big swings, and we'll have opportunities to get off the field or opportunities to force turnovers. I care a lot more about the actual interception than the 4th and 8. He thought Romeo Doubs was going to keep coming. It was a broken play. He did well to keep it alive that long. It's 4th and 8, throwing up. You could have thrown it up a little bit better. I don't really care about that one. The shot into triple coverage for Watson is your classic example of Love is like, we haven't taken a shot in a while. I want to push the ball down the field, and I have predetermined as I snap the ball that that's where I'm going with it, even though that's not at all the look the defense gave him, right? Because that's not the look they gave him all day. Again, Carolina knew what to expect, knew how to play it, and the Packers were kind of like, whoops. And that makes me nervous about the operation from the top down. We'll take a couple minute break, come back, and I'll get right back to your phone calls, I promise.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Zone Blitz pregame bash is back. Every Wisconsin home game 2 hours before kickoff at the Blue Moon Bar and Grill. And this year, do I have something special for you? It's a perfect snack for game day or any day. Wenzel's Farm Pro Snack Sticks. Come see me and I'll hand you 16 grams of protein to fuel you through the day. Wenzel's Farm offers that and so much more, crafted in small batches using premium cuts of meat, perfectly seasoned, and naturally hardwood smoked. Check out wenzelsfarm.com. Made by pros. For pros.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Listen, I've been saying this all year, Ty. This team cannot go to the Super Bowl with this offensive line play right now.
Yes.
They can't. They are getting physically beat one-on-one far too often. And I don't know if the quarterback play and decision making is a little bit attached to that, because that usually is the case. But this offensive line has been suspect all year, and they've skated by with it. Unless it gets better, they're not going to go be who they should be from a team goal perspective.
That's Dan Orlovsky on the Pat McAfee show today. Jordan Morgan was not good yesterday. I did Pack a Day with Andy last night, and he's like, yeah, I'll look closer on the old 22, but Jordan Morgan played all of the game at right guard because Sean Ryan, who'd been rotating also at right guard, had to play left guard. And you're like, wait a minute, Grant, didn't they give Aaron Banks a lot of money to play left guard? They did. You'd remember correctly. He now has a 6th or a 7th different injury. God. And it would be one thing if Elton Jenkins was dominating at center, like, we thought maybe he would, because after all, it's such an easy position and beneath him, and you should give him money to switch to play it, but he's been just not great. So if you have a not great center, a not great right guard, a not great left guard who's also always hurt, Rasheed Walker, who's good on good days, but can really pork a play here and there, and I guess Zach Tom, who's good but hurt, like, not good. So I think lost in it all today, if you're going to go open season on Matt LaFleur, and I think the coaching staff deserves a lot of criticism for yesterday's game, I think it would be misguided to not point out their O-line is hurt and shuffled and not good, and their wide receiving core is hurt and shuffled and missing a lot of guys. Oh, yeah, and Tucker Kraft as well. And they can't run the ball, too, to boot. But other than that, I'll take some more of your calls here. There's 3 of you on hold. I promise to get to you all before the next break. If you got to drop, I'm sorry. It's a busy show. Monday after a Packer game. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, Jeremy. How's it going?
Excellent, Jeremy. What do you got?
Oh, man. A lot of stuff going on with this game, huh? So if somebody wants to overvalue Green Bay in this game, okay, I'll give you a few points on that. But you and I talked about this before the game, right? The last time we talked, we said, no problem, Packers hitting 40 if they play a complete game on both sides of the ball. Now, before the game, I had Panthers probably scoring anywhere from 14 to 20. I give them credit for 20 points.
Okay.
So the defense wasn't great, but Dottle's good. I mean, we knew that. Like that.
They knew it. They said, we knew they were going to run the ball. Yeah. And it looks like they kind of let them.
There was a secret to no one. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I said, hey, 14-20. So I feel the defense did their job. They held them under 20. This is an abject failure by the offense. The red zone offense was terrible. We were marching the ball up and down the field, had no problems getting to the Panthers 16. I have an issue with LaFleur on the Savion Williams fumble thing like that. There was 10 plays I would have ran that did not involve anyone named Savion Williams there, but whatever. Okay, fine. But if you look at how we were moving the ball and you look at the opportunities we had in the red zone, if we did nothing but kick field goals in those situations, we still win this game.
Yeah.
If the Packers walk away with a 24 to 16 victory, maybe it doesn't need to be 40, but if it would have been 24, we could have talked about some of the issues that need to still be fixed, but we're talking about it in the lens of a victory.
Yes.
This is a failure.
Yes.
Like a total failure. And, oh my God, fourth quarter defense was not great. They were getting gassed really good, and they were not just on the run either. It was in the passing. The secondary was breaking down, and I was like, okay, this game's over. But
well, no, and I think, and Jeremy, I got to run because we got a load of phone lines. You are correct in that this was a game. And the Savion Williams play is an interesting one because if they score there, I wonder if the game takes a different turn. Someone in one of the group chats I'm in yesterday pointed that out as like the Mercedes Lewis fumble. Like after that, it just seemed to never really feel good again. That was the last smooth drive. They moved down the field. They did a really good job. On Savion Williams, now he might have to play because Golden's got a shoulder. LaFleur said today it's day-to-day. It shouldn't be anything crazy, right? So if he's got to play because of injury, that's one thing. But if you have your full complement of wide receivers, I don't need him out there. Ever. And I said this last week. I was out in front of this. I said after the Pittsburgh game, it's like, I know he scored a touchdown, guys. I don't need him out there. You have enough other guys. Now, if Kraft is hurt and maybe now he plays because of injury. But at no point in that drive is like, you know what we're missing is the human emergency break that is Savion Williams. Get him the ball. Like, it just frustrates me, man. And I agree, like, if they score a touchdown on that drive or even get a field goal, who knows? The game feels a little bit different. Maybe it progresses differently. Real sliding doors moment, as Bill Simmons would say. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, Colin here.
Hey, Colin. How's it going?
Just terrible loss. One thing, I think LaFleur is getting a lot of hate today, rightfully so. I don't know if I disagree with the play calling too much, but penalties. I mean, just shooting ourselves in the foot, going from first and 10 to second and 16, 17. Just inexcusable against a far superior or inferior opponent.
It's just sloppy on the line. And that to me, that's the mark of a sloppy outfit. Like if you can't get lined up and get plays blocked up and play clean football, that means you're a sloppy football team. Like, I don't care. Oh, we got great wide receiver talent. We got great pass rushers. To me, like a huge indicator of, are you a buttoned up professional, ready to go team? Can you get it blocked up and can you avoid mistakes on the O-line? And they were a mess there yesterday.
Yeah. And I kind of wanted to call into you to see where are you putting the blame pie?
I love this. I would say like 60%. Oh, this is tough. And why didn't I have this ready? Like I should have led the show with this. I think as the day goes on, I'm less on Matt LaFleur's case. Maybe like 50% Matt LaFleur, not even from a play calling standpoint, but for like a week of preparation, game, like just big picture Matt LaFleur, 50%, 25% Jordan Love, 25% on the defense. What do you think about that?
I think you're a little harsh on the defense. I mean, 16 points.
Maybe that's a little much. That's fair.
And a turnover. I don't know.
Almost had more than one. Yeah, maybe a little bit less on the defense. I'm mostly like, this to me is an operational loss. This is head coach, week of preparation, game plan, top down, in-game execution. Like, it's not even about play calling as much, although I didn't love it. It's more about like getting your team ready to go and getting them up. It looked dead on the sideline yesterday. So Matt LaFleur, big picture, the leader in the clubhouse, but I don't love the defense either.
Yeah, it felt like they were probably like going to roll out the helmets. That's kind of how the players, looked and the energy that was there. And shame on the Lambeau crowd too. I thought that was a pathetic effort out of them. I know it's Carolina on a dreary Sunday, but like you only get 8 or 9 of these a year.
Yeah.
And for a lot of those fans, it could be their last home game. So get loud.
Jesus. Okay, Cone. Thank you for that. The roll out the helmets comment is an interesting one because when Matt LaFleur says this after the game,
kind of anticipated this kind of going in.
We knew what they were going to do. We anticipated it. It's like, okay, so do you just think that because you were better and more talented and at home that you were just going to win anyway? It's kind of the conclusion I'm left to draw. If everyone was so ready, if you were so prepared for what they were going to do, and it's clear that you were when I listened to LaFleur and Josh Jacobs and just listen to comments from everybody, there was no secret about what Carolina was going to do. And it looked like you were kind of okay with them doing it. So did you just think that, but we're the Packers and we're big favorites, so we'll just win anyway? That's not how the NFL works. All right, one more call here, and then we'll take our last break. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, it's Ron in Jersey.
Hey, Big Ron. Hey, what the heck was Vagabond John saying? Has Vegas really gotten looser with spreads because they're making money elsewhere? I've never known Vegas to just lose money just because they can.
No, I disagree with Vagabond John. That spread opened at 11.5, and
The goal of a bookmaker is to get even money on both sides. So what was happening is people kept, taking the 11.5, so they had to push it out to 13.5
That's
to get
true.
even money on both sides. And then, Vegas charges 10% transaction fee. You have to pay 10% more if you lose than when you lose. You have to bet 110 to win 100. So they want the winners to pay the losers, and then they collect their 10%. They want a balanced book. It has nothing to do with them, parlays or anything like that. Although he is right. Vagabond John is right. They make way more money on parlays.
Well, yeah.
If you open a legal sports book, on the front page, on the home page, they're going to have all these parlays.
Well, yeah.
That they're going to be.
That's why all these podcasts are
where
promoting their same game parlays. Well, if you just hit six things, you win a lot of money. It's like, well, the thing is, though, you have to hit the 6 things.
Yeah, you have to hit the 6 things. So look, my chief complaint with LaFleur is when you've got a poor run-blocking offensive line that's beat up and injured, and they're playing too deep against you, you don't run the ball and you don't do the long ball. But whatever happened to, attacking the middle of the field with wide receivers, with a quick slant? Back when Favre and Mike Holmgren were running the show, they used to quick slant teams to death. I feel like LaFleur runs some quick slants to, Romeo Doubs on the goal line once in a while. It's in the goal line package. But I don't see it in the regular, base package. Whatever happened to quick slant?
When I see it, it's typically been successful. Anytime they're attacking the middle of the field. Big Ron, I appreciate it. I just got to go. I saw Marzian tweet this today, and I see him going to war with Bodie on Twitter, so I'm just going to ignore that little side story. But he did tweet, 25% of Jordan Love's pass attempts over the last 6 games have been behind the line of scrimmage, second highest only behind Kyler Murray. Only 13 of his pass attempts in that span have been in the intermediate area, 10 to 19 yards, which is third lowest. I'm more interested in that number. You could throw some balls behind the line of scrimmage, and you could take some deep shots. To me, the missed opportunity is that 10 to 19 yard window over the middle when teams want you to dink and dunk. Because it seemed like a lot of those passes were working yesterday. So that number to me, the behind the line of scrimmage stuff is whatever. I have mixed feelings on it, but 13% of his pass attempts being 10 to 19 yards, third lowest in the NFL. That I agree with you, Big Ron. That's a way to nibble a little bit more and force the defense to react a little bit more. That doesn't require Savion Williams to, chase a block without fumbling the ball. That's just Romeo Doubs running around and catching the ball. He's pretty good at it. I've seen it quite consistently this year and throughout his career. Final segment of hour number 1 coming up next at 5 o'clock. I'll hit you with my Jordan Love thoughts, big picture, gestures broadly.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
All right, fine. We can talk about the kickers. I'll give you 2 minutes here. God, I hate this topic. Not for me. Not interesting. Does not do anything for me. I do not enjoy it. I don't find it to be compelling radio, but there's some news. Matt LaFleur in his presser earlier today. This is from Matt Schneidman. Matt LaFleur says Brandon McManus is definitely working through some things health-wise, but they've gone with him the last 2 games based on what they've seen in practice. LaFleur said the plan is to stick with McManus, which is fine, I guess. Then get rid of the other guy. Carrying 2 kickers on the roster is ridiculous. If he's healthy enough to kick and you trust him, then he's healthy enough to kick and you trust him. Get rid of the other guy, and I don't want to deal with this anymore. Matt LaFleur, I believe, gave us a comment after the game yesterday about McManus's miss, and I don't have it in front of me, so maybe I'll get to it later. I won't because, again, I don't really care. But in 2 games now, Matt LaFleur has been asked, so is Brandon McManus not healthy, or what happened on that missed kick? And Matt LaFleur has basically said something along the lines of, no, he just missed. Which, okay, then that's its own problem, is you have a kicker who has been pretty ineffective outside of the red zone. He's 3-8 outside of the red zone this year. Stinky. Smelly. And you're telling me, well, he's actually working through a quad injury still. Okay. All right. Again, I want to ignore this, and I'm going to until we absolutely have to have an honest to goodness discussion about it. My prayer, and before my head hits the pillow, actually, I'm a prayer once my head hits the pillow. I don't think it's disrespectful to pray horizontally. It could be maybe that's my generation, whatever. But once my head hits the pillow, I will just say, please let the Packers win or lose a game on Monday night against the Eagles that is completely and totally unrelated to kicking, because this subject does nothing for me. I'm not taking calls on McManus versus Haversack. I will take calls on Jordan Love. I'll give you my big picture Jordan Love thoughts next as we begin hour number 2.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers are regrouping after losing as big favorites yesterday to Carolina at home. While the defense gave up a bunch of yards on the ground, they only gave up 16 points. The bigger failure was on the other side of the ball, where the offense moved up and down the field but failed to convert when they had a chance to score. Coach Matt LaFleur said it was clear Carolina's game plan was to limit their big plays and make them have long drives. It worked.
We thrive on some explosive plays when you're not getting them, and you got to move the ball down the field consistently. I mean, we've had penalties. We obviously had a fumble on the first drive. We had 3 possessions in the first half, a 9-play drive, a 9-play drive, and a 10-play drive, and we had 6 points. So it's going to be tough if we can't figure out and score in the red area, and it's just going to be tough to win football games like that.
Injuries are also a major note coming out of the game, as it was confirmed today that tight end Tucker Kraft was lost for the year with a torn ACL, while Matthew Golden left with a shoulder injury. Loss dropped Green Bay to 5-2-1 on the year. They'll welcome in the Eagles next Monday night. Turning to the Badgers, they'll get back to work this week after their bye. They'll face number 24 Washington on Saturday. Wisconsin has lost 6 straight games this season and 10 straight Big Ten games dating back to last year.
Rural Mutual Insurance. keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, it's opening night for the 24th ranked Wisconsin basketball team. They will face off against Campbell at the Kohl Center tonight. Tip is at 7. And Miles Turner going to make his return to Indiana tonight as the Bucks take on the Pacers. Tip there is at 6. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Breaking news into the NFL Network newsroom. The painful loss from the Green Bay Packers yesterday to the Carolina Panthers have just gotten worse. Sources say Tucker Kraft, one of the bright young stars in the NFL, the Packers' emerging starting tight end, has in fact torn his ACL. He is now out for the season. Now, Kraft was carted off yesterday midway through the loss. Coach Matt LaFleur said after the game it did not look good, which for him was essentially code and saying this could be a long-term injury. Shortly thereafter, sources said they believed it was an ACL. That has been confirmed today. And for the Green Bay Packers, which Jordan Love has a plethora of targets, but certainly Tucker Kraft has been maybe his most prolific, certainly one of his favorite targets in this young season. He now loses him, one of the better young tight ends in the NFL. Done for 2025, should make a full recovery for 2026, but the Packers lose a key weapon midway through the season.
I think it's inconsistent. We've had games where we played very well, put up a lot of points. We've had games where we have not put up enough points. It's just inconsistent. We've got to find ways to keep building on it, keep going on the things we're doing well, and clean up a lot of mistakes.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Hour number 2, we'll get back to your Packers coded phone calls. It's funny. I think the pitchforks were out for Matt LaFleur yesterday, big time. Oh boy, Twitter was something else. And Greg Olsen on the television broadcast, who was not overtly being anti-Matt LaFleur. I think he was just reacting to what he was seeing, specifically in that 2-minute drive going into halftime. He's like, why are they running the ball? Why are they doing some of the things they're doing? And the 2-minute stuff has been weird. The end of game stuff has been weird. Put it on LaFleur, put it on Love. I think they both have a lot of responsibility. I don't know. Matt LaFleur calls a running call. Do I want Jordan Love checking out of it? These are, look, I don't know. So I think people were really, really ticked at Matt LaFleur yesterday. And now 24 hours later, I think people have maybe backed off a little bit, as we typically do, and said, okay, well, let's think about this part of the game. Let's think about this part of the game. Let's consider this part of the game. My takeaway back at 4:00, if you missed the lead of the show, and you can always go back and find it in the podcast. That's the segment I really try to throw my fastball. I really try to have something unique before we open the phone lines and mix in player audio and all that stuff and bring on guests. My opening take back at 4:00 was, it's clear, based on Matt LaFleur's postgame comments, the comment that he gave Pam Oliver coming out of halftime, it's clear by what Josh Jacobs said in his postgame presser, the Packers knew what Carolina was going to do. They were going to try to run the ball, slow the game down, limit possessions, force the Packers to dink and dunk. It was clear. They all said, yep, that's what we expected. And I guess I'm just confused because either they had a plan to combat that and did a horrible job, or they just thought, well, we're better. We're the Packers, they're the Panthers, and we'll just win anyways, which was clearly not the case. So when I'm criticizing coaching today, it's actually less about play calling and more about they just look like the dumber team yesterday. They look like the less equipped team yesterday, the less prepared team, the dumber team that didn't have the smart answers for all of the tests. I thought Carolina was that team yesterday. They're a smart team. I don't know that the talent is there, but that's a smart coach and a smart front office and all of the things. So that's my opening take back from 4:00, my criticism. A couple minutes here on Jordan Love before we get back to your phone calls. And again, open phone lines, grab them. I won't make you wait. 608-321-1670. We've gotten caught up in this really obnoxious cycle in the way that we talk about Jordan Love. And I would just like to come to some sort of an understanding here because I'm tired and I can't keep doing this. So whether you're the biggest Jordan Love fan in the world or the biggest Jordan Love hater in the world. We need to figure this out and hash this out a little bit. We need to come to some sort of an understanding, even if we can't agree. We need to come to some sort of an understanding, because here is what I will not continue to do. This is what I'm not going to do moving forward. I am not going to spend 3 or 4 Packers wins in a row in which Jordan Love plays mistake-free football, as he had been coming out of the bye. Very clean game against Arizona, very clean game against Cincinnati. He had a pick against Cincinnati, but by and large, like a very good stretch of football, right? Very, very good play, a couple of comeback wins, elite play with many straight completions in Pittsburgh. Very, very good stretch. I'm not going to spend that stretch of football citing EPA per play and DVOA and ABC and 1, 2, 3 and saying, I mean, he's unbelievable. He's elite. And not only is he matching the stats and the progression of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre before him, he's actually better. And when you think about it, he should be an MVP candidate. Well, all right. Well, if that's what the numbers are saying and that's what my eyes are seeing, all right. And then they play a game yesterday, and he has one of those really ugly interceptions. By the way, that was his 3rd of the year, which ties him for 41st in football. I'm not excusing the interception. It was a bad one. I'm simply saying, like, he hasn't had a lot of them. I'm not going to oscillate between he's elite, he's unbelievable, he's better than the guy that he's succeeding, he's an MVP candidate, to, oh, he threw a pick. Well, that's why I can't trust him. That's why I can just never buy in. I saw Parkins tweet this yesterday. This is the classic Jordan Love tweet when you're watching, a bunch of games and Jordan Love throws a pick. Yeah, see, it's moments like that I can't buy into Jordan Love. There has to be some middle ground. I'm trying to bring people together here. There has to be some middle ground between he is the best quarterback to ever walk the earth and I just can't buy in on him. There has to be some sort of a middle ground. Now, my middle ground on Jordan Love has all the ability to make the throws when the offense is working right and he's got all his guys and the O-line is holding up, can do the thing. And he's shown this season. Don't tell me that he's not clutch or he doesn't put it together in big moments. I bookmarked a couple of things today to kind of illustrate this. And again, I'm not trying to make any sort of case here. I'm just sharing the facts. I am Mr. Middleman in the Jordan Love conversation. This is from Joel Moran, whoever that is. He's got 20,000 followers, whatever. Jordan Love has seen 7 offensive drives against Carolina and put the Packers in position to score on 6 of them. On the final drive, he went 6-7 for 57 yards to tie the game. He played a good game. Defense couldn't get a stop late. McManus missed 2 field goals, blah, blah, blah. There was one more. This is from Garrett. God, I'm doing sports talk radio in the internet era. For what it's worth, Jordan Love has led the Packers into field goal range on the offense's final possession of every game the Packers haven't won this season. Interesting stat. So Jordan Love has produced and moved the offense down the field when they've needed it. He's not just feasting in the first and second and third quarter. In fact, he's mostly been doing the opposite recently. I think Jordan Love is talented and good and can make wow throws and can also make a lot of the routine throws. And when things are right, I think he's a quarterback that can win a championship. And when things are really right, he can be the guy near the top of the MVP discussion. I also think that when he makes a mistake or throws a pick, they are like only the worst picks in the world. And I don't know how to balance those two things. And what that's led to is half of the world saying Jordan Love is unbelievable, incredible, he's the best thing, around right now. And the other half of people saying, yeah, I'll just never get there with him. It's like, I think he's no worse than the 10th best quarterback in football. I think I'm being very conservative there. So to say, well, I'll never get there with him. And as I said last week, okay, well, then when are we going to get there with Josh Allen or Lamar? Because those two guys haven't shown us dick in the playoffs. So if it's about who we can trust, I trust Mahomes, I trust Stafford, I trust Hurts. End of list. Because nobody else in football has shown me they can do it in the biggest moments. So throw Jordan Love in the hopper with Justin Herbert. Throw Jordan Love in the hopper with some of those other guys who have shown great ability and all the capability of winning regular season games and putting their team in the spot. Let's throw them in the hopper with everybody else. I can't keep doing this. I can't do 3 or 4 weeks of glazing Jordan Love and then that reset week where we all just say that he sucks balls. I can't, because it's unreasonable. So we need, as a community, need to come together somehow to find, there needs to be equilibrium here. And I'm trying to find it. I really like the guy, But then there's times where it's like, we can't just explain away every, bad pick or every interception. He only has 3 interceptions this year, which is at the bottom of football. And a lot of people want to say, well, he puts the ball in harm's way. Well, relatively, his turnover-worthy play rate is still lower than a lot of the guys who were considered elite, Lamar and Josh Allen and those guys. The weird thing is it just, when it looks bad, it looks so bad. Fascinating player, and one with whom we must find some sort of middle ground, because I'm tired. We can't go from he's the best thing ever to he's not the guy. They need to replace him. I can't do that. I can do that with coaching. We can fire or crown a coach week by week. That's Sports Talk Radio bread and butter. I can't do it with the quarterback. All right, some of your phone calls, 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Oh, we don't want you getting those brand new pair of Lululemons sitting on that fence. I mean, my God, get off the fence. You're either for or against. Now, Jordan Love.
That's actually kind of the opposite of that's kind of the anti-point that I'm trying to make, Dave.
I know, but Jordan Love, I mean, he ain't the one who missed the field goals. He's not the one. The only problem I have issues with Jordan Love is he has struggles finishing drives. Yesterday, yeah,
red zone, yeah,
red zone issues, and the good quarterbacks finish. Now, here, if I had to ask LeFlunk one question, I would like to know from Jordan Love. I don't know if he has the balls to tell us. Does he have the authority to audibilize? Because the good quarterbacks audibilize out of ridiculous calls. All the good ones do it. I wonder if Jordan Love has, because he has to know when they get in that huddle. This guy's an idiot. He's clueless. Does he have the authority to get out? And if he does,
I'm sure
he's not doing it. Then okay. If he does it, then it's all on Jordan Love. Then I blame him.
Because with Rodgers, it's like, well, he changes all the plays, and we don't know Matt LaFleur's offense. And now it's like, well, Matt LaFleur's offense sucks. Jordan Love needs to audible out of it. And it's like,
well, if he has the authority and he's not doing it, then it's a Jordan Love issue. Because he goes up there and sees a play that's not going to work, and he doesn't get out of it, then that's a Jordan Love issue. That's not a Matt LaFleur issue. Then I blame Jordan Love in crunch time, because he's got to know if you're going in the shotgun, which is the most ridiculous thing. You're one of the best running backs. It takes away your whole play action and takes away your 1-2 yard gains.
Mm-hmm.
So then I blame him. And then now the kicker, he's done. McManus is done. You can't miss field goals yesterday. That game changes if he makes routine field goals, and that's on duty. So as far as you're paying this guy $50 million to finish drives and make that correction on the field, if he ain't doing it, because we all know LaFleur. I told you from the beginning, if we could just put a muzzle on him the last 2 minutes of each half and turn his mic off, we got a shot to win. This team is still last and dead and what do you call it, special teams. And yesterday I find out 70 to 80% failure rate when you go for it on 4th and 8. Come on, Matt.
Yeah,
decisions like that.
I don't know. So Matt LaFleur with the 4th down decision making. Let's do a minute on that, Dave, and maybe we can do red zone. Well, let's save that for tomorrow. We'll do red zone at some point later this week. We'll get somebody smart on to talk about that, because I think that could be a Jordan Love issue. You could say, well, he has no problem marching in between the 20s, but you get down in the space you need to execute. Maybe you can't do that. All right, let's table that. We'll come back to that because that deserves probably a little bit more coverage after Sunday. The 4th down decision making with Aaron Rodgers. This is what I told Bill earlier. I went golfing yesterday. It's like when I putt. I have a real bad problem when I putt. I either leave it way short or I send it off the other side of the green. Like I can find no equilibrium there. And Matt LaFleur feels like the same way. He's either way too conservative or he goes for it on a 4th and 8 yesterday. It's like, whoa, well, I like being aggressive, Matt, but that's a little bit rich for me even. Holy cats. So he needs to find some equilibrium. And also there's part of me that feels, I don't feel bad. These guys make millions of dollars, but there's part of me that is empathetic to Matt LaFleur, because I think there's been times where the process has been good and the results haven't followed. So we get mad and blame the coach in the process, which sometimes is unfair. It's very easy to say, well, I would have kicked or I would have gone for it. The kicker is something they also got to figure out. Again, the kicker doesn't do much for me. The kicker talk doesn't. You could do that on other shows or on your own time in your own group chats. But I will say, I don't like hearing after the last 2 games, hey, what's up with McManus? Is he hurt? No, he just missed. And then today we learned, no, he's actually definitely going through something, but we're going to stick with him. this just seems like such a fly-by-night operation. We're just kind of making it up at kicker as we go. They're carrying 2 kickers. Remember the Brewers secondarily, what did they have? 3 or 4 catchers that one summer. And of course, I can't remember them all. I'll Google that over the break. Keep the calls coming. We'll talk Packers. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, this is Kurt in the Crick.
Kurt? Is this Kurt Hogue?
It is.
What's up, Kurt? Thank you for... Well, this is a treat. What's going on?
Long time listener, first time caller, Grant. How was your weekend? First off, how was your weekend?
It was excellent. I didn't watch enough baseball. You'd probably chastise me for that. I watched the first couple of innings and then I went to sleep.
I will, but I am here to talk about this a little bit. Grant, here's where I'm at with Matt LaFleur, right?
Okay.
I'm around every day a baseball manager who speaks in like college football coach platitudes. And frankly, like feels like I'm being beat over the head a little bit with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But unlike football coaches, the man actually he believes it. He lives by it. He doesn't just say it. The win tonight mantra, look, ask Aaron Ashby's left arm.
He lives it. He believes it.
He lives it.
Yep.
He lives it. And I don't see that in the ball coach. I don't see that in the ball coach. Anyway, I'm going to go watch Greg Gard.
Thank you, Kurt. That's Kurt. Oh, thank you. That's an interesting comparison. Ask Aaron Ashby's left arm. What 4 catchers did they carry? I should ask Kurt. Someone text that in. They had 4 of them. Summer of 22. They had Severino, Narvaez. I can't remember who else. Yeah, there is some uncertainty with Matt LaFleur. And I don't think performative press conferences mean everything. But a team takes after their coach. And there wasn't a lot of life on that sideline yesterday. And it seemed there was some uncertainty. And it showed up in the way that they played. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant. This is Coach Freed.
Hey, Coach. What's going on?
Nothing much, Wish it was the middle of June where I'm watching Freddie Peralta go 5 innings when he should go 6 or 7. But
I love how we're all talking Packers, but finding a way to take pot shots at the Brewers in our commentary. This is great, Coach.
Well, I got big shoes to fill after Kurt's calling.
Yeah, how about that?
But was it Severino, Narvaez, Luke Molly, and Manny Pena? Are those the 4 you're referencing?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I suppose I could pull up the box too. That sounds right. Severino, what a bum. God, that team. I hated that team, man.
Yeah, gross. But anyways, the main reason I wanted to call in is it bad that I have tickets to next Monday's game? Is it bad that I'm almost dreading going to the game? Like I took a half day of work, driving up to Green Bay. I'm going to be with my fellow gold package holders who I love. But is it a bad thing that I'm kind of dreading? It's Monday night against the Eagles. I have to watch the tush push about 17 times. Is that a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing, man. But again, this goes back. I appreciate the call, Coach. I think it goes back to what Kurt just said. Like, if you don't believe in what you're doing and saying, then your actions, your results will reflect that, right? So if you're dreading it, you're probably going to have less of a good time. Drink a little bit before you go. Find a way to do it safely, but that would be my recommendation. Don't wait to start drinking until you get there. Drink a little bit before you go. Like, I couldn't get out of bed on Saturday. I'll give you an example. I couldn't get out of bed on Saturday. I was very tired. Stayed up late. A little hungover for what it's worth. Whatever. I couldn't get out of bed. The second that I threw on a little music, all of a sudden I'm ready to go. Crack a beer. Did a little pub crawl on Saturday. It was very fun. This is bad advice. And if you're a younger individual, don't listen to this. Just drink before starting anything. That'll improve your outlook on it. It's good advice, but it's good functional advice. It's horrible spiritual and moral advice. All right, one more call here, then we got to go to break. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
John Daly there at the message. Hey, Tony from Texas
Hey,
here,
Tony.
Grant. I got to give Dave from Monona some credit. I was watching a game yesterday, and I actually used the name Matt LaFlunk to the lady friend I was watching the game with. And let me tell you about this. This Matt LaFlunk, though, he's starting to get exposed like a good Sydney Sweeney dress, Grant. You know what I'm saying? This is getting really bad in the red zone. I'm not even going to blame Jordan Love. I love Jordan's composure. I totally disagree with what Bodie's been putting out there on Twitter. The composure before the snaps, getting guys in the right spot. Some of his passes aren't perfect, but look at who we're comparing him to. Aaron Rodgers, and then before that, Brett Favre, who did all these crazy-ass passes. So I think that's where you're going with, what is Jordan Love? Jordan Love's a damn good football player. And the other guys are letting him down, including the head coach.
I think sometimes. Yeah, I don't think it's all the time. I do think we have motivation, Tony, to like explain the thing that Jordan Love did bad sometimes, don't we?
But there's like one or two. And by the way, there's only like 3 or 4 plays in a football game that usually decide the NFL game. And that's what's been happening to the Packers. Oh, they missed a kick. Yeah, okay. That's why they lost by 3. That's what happens. And, oh, they didn't get the 2-point conversion or the other team got the whatever. What's going on now is the Packers are not scoring in the red zone. It's the offensive line, bro. That's what it is.
They're
O-line's not
poor.
as good.
They're poor. They're hurting.
It's the O-line.
The O-line is in a bad spot, and I think that's something that's going under discussed. With Jordan Love, I think he's good too. I think sometimes he makes a bad play, but then I look at the numbers and his turnover-worthy play rate is really low. He's got 3 interceptions in 8 games. So for like big-time Jordan Love haters, and if you hate him because in the biggest moment he gags or he turns the ball over, I guess like how many interceptions through 8 games fixes that? You know what I mean? I'm trying to be reasonable. I'm trying to find reasonable middle ground on Jordan Love because it seems like that's in rare supply these days. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more Packers, more of your phone calls. Remember the Monday mailbag coming up at 5:50. So submit your questions. It's looking rather plump. I think we need a little fun. We need a little grab ass segment. So I think it'll be perfect. GrantBills21@gmail.com.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Zone Blitz pregame bash is back. Every Wisconsin home game 2 hours before kickoff at the Blue Moon Bar and Grill. And this year, do I have something special for you? It's a perfect snack for game day or any day. Wenzel's Farm Pro Snack Sticks. Come see me and I'll hand you 16 grams of protein to fuel you through the day. Wenzel's Farm offers that and so much more, crafted in small batches using premium cuts of meat, perfectly seasoned, and naturally hardwood smoked. Check out wenzelsfarm.com. Made by pros for pros.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Okay, I got to scratch an itch real quick before we get back to the Packers. I want to talk about their O-line. But we were referencing the fact that the Brewers at one moment in 2022 were carrying 4 catchers, and I couldn't remember the names. I remembered Pedro Severino was one, because part of the issue was he came back off suspension, and there was already a crowded room. But in my mind, I could remember Severino and Narvaez. And again, my mind being a reasonable, rational, I'm mostly an idiot, but in my brain is saying, okay, if they kept 4 catchers, that means they would have had 4 good catchers, because in order to keep that many on the roster, at least 3 of them need to be good. And Severino is like, he's the suspended guy who, it's a little bit of a contractual logjam. The 4 catchers were Pedro Severino, Omar Narvaez, Victor Caratini, who was he Corbin Burns' personal catcher at some point? And Mario Feliciano. Why did my brain think that there was one other catcher that was like kind of good in there? 2022 David Stearns was a special animal, man. Trading away Josh Hader while you're in first place, carrying 4 catchers. Who else is on this godforsaken team? JC Mejia. That's right. Ethan Small. I always kind of thought he was going to be good, I'll be honest. And they had this Pat Murphy guy just sitting on the bench as a bench coach. Bunch of morons. Jonathan Davis, I do remember him. Esteri Ruiz, obviously post-Hader trade. PHT, post-Hader trade. We should start referring to that. Oh, and of course, Matt Bush. And what a great season it was. Chichi Gonzalez. Get this team out of my face and get David Stearns out of my face. The O-line is bad. Here's Dan Orlovsky earlier today on the Pat McAfee show. And I wish I could show you the video because while Orlovsky's breakdown is really good, what you're missing by just the audio is Pat Murphy is pantomiming O-line play, which is just so funny. So I wish I could play that for you, but we'll just, the audio will have to suffice.
Listen, I've been saying this all year, Ty. This team cannot go to the Super Bowl with this offensive line play right now.
Yes.
They can't. They are getting physically beat one-on-one far too often. And I don't know if the quarterback play and decision-making is a little bit attached to that, because that usually is the case. But this offensive line has been suspect all year, and they've skated by with it. Unless it gets better, they're not going to go be who they should be from a team goal perspective.
So I will say, I think Brian Gutekunst is an excellent GM, and he's done lots of good things. He could have taken his free agency spending money this offseason and lit it on fire, and the team would be no worse for wear than they are with Hobbs and Banks. These 2 guys have both sucked, and Banks has one injury after another. So now you kick Sean Ryan over to left guard. Jordan Morgan's playing right guard. He's not very good at it. Elton Jenkins is like, pay me more. Also, I'm at a strip club. I can't play center all that well. Zach Tom is like, I'm blacked out because I'm in so much pain. And Rasheed Walker's like, we're going to go undefeated. And that's the O-line. Actually reminiscent of the Brewers catching room in 2022 to tie it all together. 608-321-1670 Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
This is Louie in Eau Claire.
Hey, what's going on, Louie?
Hey, Grant. Actually, you kind of hit on something I wanted to talk about. Is
perfect.
So think how much better off the Packers would be if they just signed John Runyon and Josh Myers to reasonable contracts. Then that frees up the money that they spent on Aaron Banks and the first-round pick they took on Jordan Morgan, and then you could use the first-round pick on a defensive back. I'm not going to go with the boilerplate Cooper DeJean answer.
But you could.
Just having but you could, and that would look pretty good in the secondary right now. I think that's part of what Gutekunst I thought kind of overlooked there. Is sometimes solid is good enough, and it's not like those guys were given huge contracts elsewhere. Maybe they weren't highly thought of, but it's not something you have to worry about. They were doing a serviceable job, and now you have kind of an offensive line in flux. I guess my favorite tweet from yesterday that I saw was, Aaron Banks sucks, and when he's not sucking, he's hurt, which both of those things are bad.
That is an excellent tweet.
And that's kind of what I thought too. Another thing I want to bring up is I know the defense is not giving up a ton of points, but they cannot get off the field. Starting with starting with the last drive against the Browns and going forward, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, they did a little better against Pittsburgh. They can't get off the field, even though they're not giving up big points numbers. As much as the Packers offense is concerning and now is even in a worse shape with Tucker Kraft on, I think they had 7 total possessions yesterday. Now, that's on Matt LaFleur, the coach, as if he's going to only have 7 possessions. But that's a problem when you're only getting the ball that amount of times, because he's coaching like they're getting the ball 12 or 13 times.
You are correct. And the Packers defense is operating as if their offense is pouring it on, which they're not, right? So like I think both sides of the ball are looking at the other and needing something else. That's a great call, Louis. By the way, breaking news on Nate Hobbs. He is expected to miss at least the next 2 games with a grain 1 sprayed of his MCL. And that is reported by our friend Ryan Wood of PackersNews.com. And we'll talk with him on Friday. Thanks to Lacrosse Beer House. Aaron Banks sucks, and when he doesn't suck, he's hurt. Oh, my God. Brian Gutekunst could have taken that money and lit it on fire in a barrel in the parking lot of Westtown Mall, and this team would be no worse for wear than they currently are. It's stunning. From a man of my alma mater as well, who I think very highly of. But those 2 signings, woof. One more call here, then we'll go to break. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Good afternoon, Grant, Bill.
Good afternoon, Eric on I-90.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head here, Grant. I mean, first of all, everybody's got to simmer down. Simmer down.
Okay.
It's not the end of the world, right? And it is. It's the offensive line. That just dictates everything on how it's going to go. And, you guys should listen to Mike Clemens more. Or take heed to what he says, because he gave hints of this last week. But Carolina's got a good defense.
Mm-hmm. They got a couple good players. Yeah.
Well, I think yesterday's game should be clear to you that it might not be a big failure on Green Bay's offense, more of a big win for Carolina.
I think there's some of that is true, but I think when you go too far in that direction, you're letting the Packers off the hook for how poorly they played yesterday.
You're letting yourself off the hook for your emotional currency that you've invested in the team. Yeah. That's what you're letting yourself off.
Interesting theory. I'll think
That's
about that.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they did. They played cover 2. They played cover 2, and they could get a little bit of pressure on him. That's tough to beat. That's tough to beat. And if you can control that other team, you can run the ball. And if you can keep that score close, you can run right at Micah Parsons all day long, and you kind of negate his strength. Let's just say that.
Well, I'm
offensive line.
Go ahead.
Offensive line. Minnesota's a good example of that. Got back their 2 all-star tackles yesterday, and our quarterback looks decent. Right? That's all that means. If we don't get those 2 tackles back, who knows what that is? We might be wanting to run J.J. McCarthy out of state. Run him out of here. But we had those 2 tackles back. Gave him a little opportunity. That's how it goes. That's what's so great about it, Grant. That's what's so great about it.
This Packers O-line, I appreciate it, Eric, looked very good in weeks 1 and week 2. They protected Jordan Love very well in weeks 1 and weeks 2. They did not against the Browns. They did against the Cowboys. Scored 40 points. This is not that complicated of a game, as many smart football fans often say. It's won in the trenches, won or lost in the trenches. I just can't believe Hobbs and Banks. It's like you could have lit that money on fire, and it would have contributed about the same amount of wins to the 2025 Packers so far. Might have kept some folks warm, too. Might have been a net positive. The O-line's been bad. I will not blame the Packers defense. I don't really love the way that they're playing. It's hard to argue with the results, but my question is, if the whole idea is, well, we're just going to limit big plays, which should be the big picture thing that you're doing. Cover 2 and limiting big plays is what you should be doing. But every once in a while, you got to do something. You got to mix in some other looks. They're not really doing that a whole lot. At least it doesn't look like it, or it's not reflected in the results. Why are we paying Micah Parsons all this money and Xavier McKinney, and what's Edgerrin Cooper for, and what's Rashawn Gary for, if we're just going to call a defense like we're scared that every player on the defense sucks? I guess that's my concern. The Monday mailbag about 20 minutes away. Submit your questions, grantbills21@gmail.com. continue to take your Packers phone calls and any thoughts on the Packers in the meantime before we get to the mailbag next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Wisco Sports Show. Appreciate you listening. Monday Mailbag in about 10 minutes. That's kind of our fun segment where we can broach some non-sports related topics just to have a little fun. And I think we need some fun today because the Packers lost and whatever. The Packers lose sometimes. It's a long season. They lose ugly games, right? It happens. The Tucker Kraft thing sucks. It sucks because he's so important to their offense, but I also just love watching the crazy bastard play football. Like, it's like having a bison on your football team. It's just fun. And I think I talked about this last week. There's like 2 guys in football like that at any given time. And for him to get hurt because Sean Ryan got, kick blocked or whatever, and he throws his legs back, it just sucks. It sucks. So we need a little fun tonight. I also could give you a rant on breweries. I had a brewery experience that really tilted me this weekend. And I can also give you a country music take. I don't think I'm going to get to either of those because the mailbag looks pretty plump, but who knows? We'll see. I'll get to some texts. I really neglect the text line in the Big 2025, and for that, I apologize. Jared in DeForest says, I feel like Matt LaFleur has taken it upon himself to hold the reins in on the Packers. It seems as soon as the media starts talking about how great they can be, he says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Can't have our team thinking they're this great early in the season. Let me put a chokehold on this offense and show everyone just how terrible we are. We were clicking against Detroit and Washington. We were clicking against the Steelers. How do we respond? By playing like a complete shell of ourselves. There seems to be a portion of Packers fans that's like, why is Matt LaFleur holding Jordan Love back? Why is he holding him back? I don't know. At times yesterday and in other games, I would have liked for Matt LaFleur to push the envelope a little bit more. Like, I don't need the Savion Williams sweeps. I don't need him on the field. Let me be clear. I don't need any plays ran for him. At no point this year has been like, whoa, you see that? I don't need him out there. I don't need yards after the catch plays designed for Matthew Golden. That's not his thing. Stop doing that. Let him play wide receiver. So there are complaints about Matt LaFleur's play calling. I also need to be the bucket of cold water onto everyone's lit torch and pitchfork for Matt LaFleur and say, okay, look at the current O-line and look at the injuries they sustained, tight end, wide receiver yesterday. Their kicker, like he's up against it a little bit right now. So do you just want him to let Jordan Love drop back 20 steps every play and just cork deep balls against a defense that's specifically designed to prevent him from doing that? I don't know. Let's calm down on LaFleur a little bit. Jim in Cottage Grove. Jordan Love just hasn't matured to the point where he has a quick football aptitude. Some people are born with it, where you can read a defense, read a coverage, and adjust to it. Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers had that. Brett Favre, by the way, famous for reading and understanding coverages. Come on, Jim. I'll continue reading, though. He will never have that because that's something you can't coach. That's why he's always just going to be a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. Have a good night. Thank you, Jim. You as well. I think Jordan Love at worst right now is like the 10th best quarterback in football. So if you're just going to be out on him and ask for a replacement, right or wrong, you're going to be waiting a bit. I would bet against him being Aaron Rodgers, despite how many people on the internet being like, well, at age 27, this is what Rodgers... Okay. All right. Sure. And Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln, and Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy, and blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff. Bobby in Menominee says, we need to go full prohibition on gambling. It's beyond annoying at this point, and idiot poor people are only going to be losing money like they have forever with the lottery. Okay, Dave Ramsey, you'd be correct on that. I saw the scene from The Sopranos. My whole YouTube shorts and Facebook Reels is just all Sopranos clips. And I saw the clip of Tony yelling at Meadows saying, a grown man made a wager and he lost. And he made another and then he lost again. So I don't know. You want to bet your money on sports? More power to you. It is annoying, though. I would agree. Tim and Prairie du Chien. Feel like the game was essentially lost on the drive where the Packers were at Panthers' 8-yard line and had 3rd and 3 and lost 5 yards on a swing pass. Now it's 4th and 8 and they still go for it. I definitely kick the field goal there. The third down play dictated it, I think. I like that. The drive wasn't going well. They weren't confidently and commandingly move the ball, so just take your points and set yourself up for the final quarter. All right. Todd and Holman says, I think it's as simple as too much ego. They prepare correctly when they're playing good teams, but when playing what they think is a weaker opponent, they aren't prepared. What say you? I think maybe that's true because, again, I listen to Matt LaFleur, Josh Jacobs, and everybody say, yep, we knew what Carolina was going to do. We were prepared. They were going to run the ball and play keep away and limit our possessions, limit the big plays. Okay, but then what was the plan then? because you still uncorked a couple of bombs down the field, which were probably ill-advised. The defense seemingly just kind of let Carolina run the ball. So you knew what was coming. Did you just think, well, where the Packers were better, we'll win anyways? I don't love that. Jay Krebs says, all teams in the NFL, even good teams, have clunkers. Eagles lost to the Giants. Packers have lost to the Browns and the Panthers. They can't lose to any more inferior teams. Okay, well, if you just want to say, all right, that's the last one they get. 13.5-point favorite at home is pretty bad. Losing in Cleveland is a stinker that I will accept. I don't think you should accept yesterday. I think that's letting him off the hook, personally. Coyote Mike says, Grant, I thought the same thing about Matt LaFleur's presser comments. He has said before a couple of similar things in previous games. Seems like the more Matt LaFleur talks, the more he digs himself a deeper hole to climb out of, and it's getting deeper. My question is, who is around to throw him a rope? Great imagery, Coyote Mike. Yeah, it's this stuff.
Kind of anticipated this kind of going in.
We kind of anticipated this. Well, I would never have known it watching. Never would have known it. I'm going to break a little early here. There's nobody on the phone. I've said my piece. Let's get to the mailbag. Shall we? Submit your questions last minute. GrantBills21@gmail.com. We'll cover a wide swath of topics on the other side to wrap up the show.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Because the mail never stops.
Charles, we'll be writing to you.
Ah, She's Got Mail. That's the name of the book.
That's it, honey. There's never a let up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you gotta get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
The Monday Mailbag. I think we need the Monday Mailbag more than ever today. We need a little light conversation to wrap up the show. Your questions and comments, all topics considered. GrantBills21@gmail.com. Let's get into it, shall we? Marcus says, when was the last time you went to Rocky Rococo? From Marcus in Austin, Texas, who greatly misses Rocky Rococo. They should be a sponsor of the show. Rocky Rococo is delicious. The last time I had it was 2 winters ago. It used to be a yearly tradition of mine when Simmons and House and Russillo would do their NBA over-under. It marked the beginning of the NBA season. I would get Rocky Rococos and I would listen to that thing. But the last years I didn't do it. I did it in La Crosse when I lived there because there was a Rockies on Copeland. I think it's still there. And then when I lived in Madison for a year on the east side, because there's one up in Sun Prairie, right by Monks. Excited to be back over there on Thursday. So about 2 years, I should get back there. Tyler in Massachusetts says, with the announcement of the AC/DC concert at Camp Randall for next summer, what is your favorite and least favorite AC/DC songs? Man, I don't know. They're all, respectfully, they're all the same to me. And the joke that I cracked this morning, it's nice to see that Camp Randall truly returning to the form of the 1980s, both in football and in music. By the way, we're going to have AC/DC tickets to give away, so stand by. Ebo will talk about that. I'm sure Bill will as well. The Wisco Sports Zone app going to be the place. And WiscoSportsZone.com, the place to sign up to win those. Sorry, Tyler, I got nothing for you. They're all the same. And if AC/DC is like your thing, sorry. Nick says, hey, Grant, I see that Fortnite's latest season theme is The Simpsons. Will you be playing? I'm in the process of updating my Fortnite, only 50 gigabytes. I hate modern gaming. You and me both, brother. I don't know if I'll be playing. We've been battling. Me and my idiot friends have been battling for 2 months about whether to get COD or Battlefield. I'm getting COD. If I want to play Battle Royale, I'm just going to play Fortnite. If I want to shoot a lot of people in a video game, I'm playing COD. Stop trying to reinvent the... Hey, guys, you know, this winter, let's not get the COD. Let's get Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. And I know a bunch of you are like, actually, that game ruled. I don't know, man. I got an hour, maybe twice a week to play video games. I want to shoot as many people as possible, and I want to throw C4, and I want to play Capture the Flag and Search and Destroy. So maybe Fortnite. Add me. Nick, appreciate the email. Tom says, do you change oil in your lawn and garden equipment before you store it in the fall or in the spring prior to use? Dude, if you are asking the wrong person. I love a common experience in radio among on-air people in sales is oftentimes they will like hand out a form. This hasn't happened in a while, but it used to happen like close to every year where the salespeople would like give us a little packet and they're like, write down the things that you might need or things that you use. And then we'll look for sponsors and you can promote their stuff. And it was always like rain gutters and driveway sealing and hot tub winterization. It's like, who do you think you're talking to right now? It's like when Bill asked me last year, does your apartment have a fireplace? No. So I don't know, Tom. I don't know. I can't answer that. I own none of it and don't own a lawn. Scott says, Grant, you've mentioned Jake's Supper Club before numerous times. I feel like it's been a while, but it's probably come up on the show. You've been there often, as have I. You're there during a Packer game. What entree do you order after a win, after a loss? Or is it the same either way? Great Monday show, Scooter and Eau Claire. Well, I don't have a go-to entree there. I normally just feel it out. Or if like you're there in the summer and you're drinking and there's music and it's like, and also we're eating, that's going to change. As it would at any supper club. Like, are we getting dinner or are we going to hang out at a place that has food and I'm hungry, so I'm also going to get a little food? Go Bang Bang Shrimp or Prime Bites if you're getting dinner. If you're not getting dinner and just hanging out and drinking, the cheese curds. The Cedar Plank salmon is excellent. Normally the Alfredo. Love the Alfredo. And always, dessert, big glass of an ice cream drink. I recommend Keck's Northern Exposure, but you can do what you'd like. If you don't like raspberry, get the grasshopper. It's all good. Jacob, sticking with the same theme, what is your typical Culver's order? Culver Butter Burger Deluxe with everything on it. Now, I like Culver's fries when they're hot with ketchup because I like fries. I'm not telling you they're the world's best fries, but some people, you tell them that you get fries at Culver's and they treat you like you're a World War II, war criminal. No, when they're hot and they're ketchup, they're good. I like their onion rings. I like their cheese curds. So whatever, one of those sides. Normally, concrete mixer if I'm getting ice cream with that Butterburger Deluxe, double Butterburger Deluxe with cheese. Vanilla ice cream, Oreos, peanut butter sauce. Something like that. I'm a simple man. Steve Is it the Bucks? Just Steve. Is it this Bucks team's job to try to compete for a title or to provide a winter of entertainment and passion? Well, it may seem semantic. How you view that probably determines how willing the front office will be to deal picks down the road to improve this team. I would imagine they'd be willing for the right deal. I don't think they're going to do it, but I don't think they're going to stop short now. If there's a player that they think it's like, this guy can help us win a title and be a piece moving forward, I don't think they'll hesitate. And that's just based on a little evidence that we've had over the last couple of years. A lot of evidence. And we talked about that on Friday. Thank you for the emails. Appreciated. One random thing that I must mention, I went to a brewery on Saturday, which I don't normally do. And it's not that I'm anti-brewery. It's just I'm not a beer snob. I'll have a Miller Lite. Thank you. If I'm in the Chippewa Valley or in Milwaukee or anywhere in the Northwoods, I'll have a Liney's Light. Thank you. It's not in my nature to go to a place to learn about their process and their ingredients, but I did go to a brewery, and you know what? I had fun. The weird thing was, and I've seen lots of people talk about this on Twitter, Cone Roller, LaCroix Butler come to mind. There was a baby shower going on at this brewery. And I saw an article in the Journal Sentinel last week about how lots of places around the country have been trying to cut down on the kids and the babies in the breweries and in the tap rooms, the tasting rooms. And Milwaukee was not doing that. I don't know. I found it interesting that there was discourse about such a thing. You can do what you want with your time. And if a brewery says, yes, you can host your baby shower here, go nuts. Now, let me be clear. This was a baby shower that everyone brought their kids to. I don't have a problem with a bunch of adults hosting an event at a brewery. In fact, that actually sounds like a great place for an event. Too many kids. Too many kids. Too many kids. Just too many kids. Way too many kids. Way too many kids. Way too many kids. Now, we sat at the bar, keep most of the hoopla behind us, out of sight, out of mind. But my God. And also leave your dog at home too. Your dog doesn't need to be there. I'm a dog lover, don't own a dog. Would like to one day. I don't need to hang out with your dog. I don't need to hang out with your kids. I'm not anti-kids. I love your kids for you. I'm happy that you, excellent. Thumbs up that you did that. Creating life is a miracle. And what a fulfilling exercise, I would imagine. The brewery is not, go to Chuck E. Cheese, please. I wanted to drink my beer, and it was a good Pilsner. I just really liked it. Normally I don't. It's just like, do you have a Miller Lite? Or some sort of just a generic beer. It's not about the beer. It's about the times you have drinking the beer, you know? I want to get that off my chest. Baby shower at a brewery. One thing if the kids weren't there, but man, were they there. And if you were there and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm being targeted. It's mostly performative for content, but also trying to enjoy myself. Kids can stay at home. All right. Talk to you tomorrow. We should talk about the red zone woes. We can commit a lot of that, a lot of tomorrow's time to that. Enjoy the night. Enjoy Monday Night Football.